I was listening to Celebration by Sserafim, and I came across the line Fearless 2.0, and that really stood out to me, and I really had to focus on it, and that really got me to sit down and start thinking, because this line obviously insinuates the revival of, when you say like 2.0, you obviously are bringing a new version or maybe like reviving a certain thing. And in this case, it was reviving the word fearless. And, it got me to sit down and think, because of course we're reviving something, but what does fearless mean in this concept, in this context? I should say, actually. And, we all know that Fearless was Le Sserafim's debut project, but I think the idea and the concept of being fearless has kind of like faded away during the crazy era. And to me, in 2025, it did not make an explicit appearance. Now, I would totally agree with this argument that you could totally make a conversation about the topic of being fearless, and fearlessness not being as explicit as they were in the Unforgiven and Anti-Fragile era, right? And the concept of being vulnerable doesn't always, have to be a sign of weakness. And in fact, I don't think being vulnerable is a sign of weakness at all. I think it's a sign of bravery. It shows a sign of strength, and in fact, I think it takes a level of fearlessness to be able to show vulnerability, because you're expressing a side to yourself that isn't really always romanticized or even preferred by a lot of people around you. And being vulnerable takes a lot of strength to not be scared of being able to express yourself. It's this confidence and this level of fearlessness that you obtain that makes it possible that you can express yourself. And I would totally understand the argument if maybe it was important to emphasize the concept of being fearless in a more, explicit way to be able to be counted into the fearless concept. But I do believe that subtlety and being able to read in between the lines is very important to be able to understand the value. And, I understand that being explicitly fearless is probably the most simplest and the biggest way to show that, the group still believes in the concept. But I do believe that there is an art and an importance in subtlety. Now, I want us to hold hands. I want us to hold each other close, because I'm going to address the elephant in the room. And that elephant is 2024. That was a crazy year for several girl groups, pun not intended, but especially for Le Sserafim. Now, I feel kind of uncomfortable talking about 2024 because the amount of hatred the girls got was, again, it spiked my anxiety levels. So imagine the members themselves. And if you were a fan of Le Sserafim in 2024, I'm so sorry. Reparations. You need reparations, because it was bad. It was so bad. I googled, I remember, not googled, but I went on YouTube and I wanted to see Chaewon singing something, and the flashbacks to 2024 was crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have an entire script, but I just have to take a moment to just lose my mind over this. But okay. Basically, back to my script. Basically, if you liked Le Sserafim in 2024, you were praying every single day for something good to happen. So, as you know, Everything started with criticism for their vocals, but it got so violent and so uncomfortable so quickly that the idea of bringing up any valid criticism would catapult, catapult. I got it right. Um, it would just turn into like the worst things imaginable, and it became very toxic. So, I do want to talk about the concept. Well, not the concept. I do want to talk about people poking fun at Le Sserafim's concept, which is, I've said it a million times already. Fearlessness. Um, the members were visibly showing a lot of signs of distress, and they weren't, they were not, they weren't like, they weren't like having a poker face and like facing the crowd. No, 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 no. They expressed pain. They expressed visible sadness. And that is so valid because they were getting the amount of hatred they received, no matter what like valid criticism you had, it was just not going to work in any possible way because I'm pretty sure a death threat is much more impactful than any level of thoughtful criticism that you would provide to them. And seeing the amount of hatred they were receiving for not being fearless, it was quite concerning, but it was so interesting to see how easy it was to dehumanize idols and especially girl groups. And the thought of the line and the potential of what Fearless 2.0 could mean, it kind of like triggered that memory from those posts and comments that I saw. I'm so sorry. That was a motorcycle. I don't want to like quit. I don't want to quit and like restart. But yeah, I'm so sorry if you heard a motorcycle. Um, I guess it makes the recording a little bit more raw. I don't know. I don't know why I'm giggling, but like this motorcycle isn't going away. I am so sorry. Back to my script. Where was I? Oh yes. And seeing these comments in posts about the girls not taking criticism with a straight face, not criticism, hatred with a straight face, it kind of it kind of struck me the wrong way because it's dehumanizing to think that um someone's going to remain fearless and stoic when you threaten to kill them. I don't know. I don't know. That's I don't know. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to like I think it's pretty reasonable to think that someone is not going to remain stoic for that. So, I was thinking and I kept thinking and I came to a conclusion. Le Sserafim is not fearless, and that is okay. Actually, it's more than okay. In my humble opinion, I understand the concept of the potential artistic intention of associating a group with a trait, for example, like fearlessness. However, the K pop industry is built on exploitation and dehumanization of their idols, so the artistic value can become extremely undermined because of the main goal, which is to make money and profit and basically to capitalize off of their groups. I feel like that could be the same thing, but you get my point. However, I do think, again, there's a media literacy problem and overall an empathy problem in K-pop fandom spaces. In my opinion, I think there's like I feel like people are too busy trying to have like a viral tweet rather than have an honest, heartfelt conversation about the art that they enjoy or maybe art that they may have not enjoyed. And even if they do talk about it, I feel like there always has to be a quippy caption that only reaches surface level analysis, if any at all, or it's meant to praise someone while putting another group down. It's very, very surface level if there's any like actual like conversations about art at all. I think the concept of fearlessness only hurt the girls than like rather it being a thing that enriched their base as a group and made their concept a lot more stronger. I think fearless was a concept that kind of was stolen from the members and twisted into such a way by the fans and the company to some extent, to further insult the members during their ongoing hate train. But it also revealed that the company used the concept of being fearless as a way to create an image that I argue is untouchable. It relied on the dehumanization and the idealization of idols to be able to be carried throughout the concept itself. It relied on the absence of the members and their feelings, and especially their other feelings, um, that might involve fear to be able to carry out this project of being fearless. However, regardless of how much dehumanization is involved, the members are still human. Their feelings are still going to come through, regardless of what happens. And it definitely did in 2024. And they had a lot of feelings and a lot of valid feelings. And I think the reason why people went harder on them is because they're not supposed to be fearful. They're not supposed to be vulnerable. That was their entire concept. And to a lot of Twitter stands, they failed. And even if, we try to have um deeper commentary about what happened and why things became so violent, and especially around how they speak about the girls in general. And the conclusion is it was violent, it was wrong, and it was just so cruel. Like, even if you have, again, try to have like deeper commentary about K-pop and the topics, whether that is the music, the art, or even the problematic nature of the industry. A lot of K-pop stans think on a surface level, and thinking like that created a lot of damage. To some people, the girls failed to be fearless in the face of having death threats, and it was a crime in the courts of Twitter. And this, in my opinion, and again, I could be completely wrong, but I do believe that there is, some stands who might not want to acknowledge it, but they enjoy the idea of controlling the narrative about an idol, or simply wanting to control um over over their thoughts and feelings, and sometimes hatred is their way of exacting that control. To go back to the members, I am of the opinion that they are not fearless because they're simply human, and they simply cannot be fearless because they're human. It's impossible. Humans express feelings because we're multifaceted, and no amount of narrative play and aesthetics can hide the fact that they have feelings. They will have feelings, and they will continue to have feelings. The concept of being fearless only restricts the members from being able to be human, and they're only allowed to do things that are in the confines of being fearless. It puts the members of it puts the members of the Seraphim on a pedestal that they didn't really ask for, and it may look like it is required to hide every single emotion to be able to perform a job. And if your job requires you to believe or convince everyone that you are fearless and you don't feel any fear because it's the concept of your group. I feel like that's quite painful. And I know maybe the intention was to have a cool concept about being fearless because I do think it's cool and it kind of reminds me of Divergent in a little bit of a way. But again, with the nature of the K-pop industry, it doesn't really hold the same value or artistic value because of the the industry's intention to profit off of their idols. And I know what I'm saying isn't really new, and I think it's worth talking about though, because I do believe that a group's concept might actually be dehumanizing in disguise. I think the idea of having a Fearless 2.0 is interesting. And what I mean by interesting is that maybe it's the group and, well, the company admitting that they may have left the fearless concept behind in a way. And it is time to potentially revive it. And I wonder how they will revive it because will it be in a way where it is not as, stressful for the members or, you know, it won't be as harsh and maybe a little bit more nuanced? I don't know. I don't know. I'm very interested to see because I do think reshaping the definition of being fearless, especially in the confines of K-pop, I think is really important. And I don't want to pass judgment right now because I think the concept of being fearless is to, as of right now for the Seraphim, is to enjoy life. And I think that's really interesting right now because seeing Celebration is a literal celebration, and their title track having a lot more like from the snippet we have seen, it's very like let go and be free. So I wonder if if the word fearlessness takes on a new meaning of being able to be free. But that being said, thank you for watching this video, and I know what I said is not really new or anything inspiring, but I do believe that, like, Le Seraphim deserves a concept where they are safe and they feel comfortable to be Le Seraphim. So, anyway, thank you for watching this video, and, you know, yeah, thanks. Bye!